Live from the Newsmax studio in New York City, here is Steve Malzberg.
And to further proclaim in an Israeli newspaper that, quote, finally peace is possible. Mr. Speaker, I thought nothing this president could ever say or do would surprise me anymore. But this flushed and breathless rush to embrace terrorists launching rockets at Israeli children is an unprecedented act of cowardice and betrayal. America's fleet should this minute be off the coast of Israel, and the world, including Abbas, Hamas, and Hezbollah, should know that America's arsenal of freedom stands ready to our most precious ally on earth.
Hi, folks. There you go, Trent Franks. And that was a few days ago, right after Barack Obama wrote an editorial in an Israeli newspaper saying that Mahmoud Abbas is a great partner for peace. This was as the bombs were falling. The rockets were raining down from Gaza on Israel. Today, John Kerry changing his tune after Hamas rejected the proposed ceasefire by Egypt and said that he's outraged. Why would you be surprised? Let's put that question to David Tafuri, former rule of law coordinator for Iraq at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, partner at Patton Boggs Law Firm. Hey, David.
How you doing?
I'm fine. So Egypt brokered this or proposed this ceasefire. Israel accepted it, and Hamas decided to fire 100 more rockets and say it's not worth the paper it's written on.
That's correct. You know, it would have been nice if Egypt could have resolved this. They made a good attempt. Unfortunately, it did not work out. Hamas is very opportunistic. They haven't fulfilled the goals of their effort here to terrorize Israel, and they're certainly going to continue, as they made very clear and showed during the supposed ceasefire. Let's see how long this goes on. They need to, I guess, try and demonstrate to the people of Gaza that they've made some sort of statement here, perhaps to attract more support from other terrorist organizations and countries that sponsor terrorism, so that they can get additional funding and additional weapons to continue the next time.
This is really bad news on two fronts. I think it's bad news for Israel, aside from the obvious that the rockets will continue to rain. And even though nobody's been killed, there was a severe injury. And, of course, the terror of having to run every time you hear a siren go off. But Israel's running out of air targets to hit. And if they're going to continue in the face of the rockets, they're going to be forced maybe into a ground war. That's A. So comment on that before I get to B.
Well, it looks like Israel has some more things they want to do with their air attacks in Gaza. They probably have a long list of targets. They've hit some. They want to hit more. They were willing to do a ceasefire, but if there's not going to be a ceasefire, they're going to try and make some more progress and really downgrading the capability of the militants in Gaza. That's number one. Number two, they have shown willingness to put, some soldiers on the ground, special forces, to accomplish some goals. I don't think they're going to put a lot of boots on the ground. It would result in too many deaths and probably a lot of criticism of Israel. So I expect they'll go on with the air campaign and some limited special forces strikes, try and really downgrade the capability. The problem is that Gaza has shown that they can just get more weapons in the future. So there needs to be a more comprehensive solution. Egypt tried. The U.S. is trying. The U.S. is going to have to stand up and take a greater leadership role here. Well,
and here's the thing. The bad news also for the United States is that now they have to trash Hamas. And I don't understand, in the wake of Hamas refusing, and we know that Fatah and their fighters are also participating in this, and Fatah is Abbas and the PA, and the administration has claimed that Hamas hasn't been an active member of the government, or whatever terminology they use on a technicality, to keep funding this Palestinian unity government. How on earth does the Obama administration today, after Hamas showed the world they have no interest in a ceasefire, in fact, they spit in the eye of the ceasefire, how on earth does Obama keep funding a unity government made up of the PA, which is bad enough, and Hamas?
Well, look, there are a lot of bad choices here. In order to make any progress on peace, you do have to find some partner in the Palestinian territories. Obviously, Fatah and Abbas and the folks in the West Bank, leadership in the West Bank, are a little more amenable, a little better partners, certainly not without blood on their hands. But the U.S. government is, trying to find a partner, and it's quite difficult. The real real threat to the U.S. is not that this doesn't get resolved, but this creates additional turmoil in the region. We already have, substantial threat now in Iraq and Syria with ISIS growing. We have the canvas of a Sunni Shiite war across Iraq and Syria. Is this going to spread to the Levant? This is going to create tons of unrest in Israel. That's the real threat for the administration here. They need to contain both battles.
No, I agree with that, but I'm just saying I still don't understand. I never understood how just days after the unity government was formed, again, if you want to work with the PA, then the PA has to realize that they have to work with you. And again, to basically any other administration would have said, well, that's it. You tied my hands. Your funding's cut off, as I believe the law requires of the U.S. administration. Because believe it or not, even though Obama probably doesn't, we as a country consider Hamas a terrorist group. So how we work with a terrorist group as part of the Palestinian government, I don't know. But now, like I said, in the face of this, spit in the eye of civility, yet again by Hamas, and Kerry blasting Hamas publicly, finally, how do they keep funding Hamas?
Well, what we really need is for the Palestinians to turn their backs on Hamas. Not all Palestinians support Hamas. Not even all Palestinians in Gaza support Hamas. There are signs that Hamas's popularity in Gaza has weakened. This is certainly an effort by Hamas to somehow increase their popularity by showing that they can confront Israel. So we have to plot a careful course here to divide the people from Hamas, let them turn to more moderate leaders. That's what really needs to happen.
All right. Well, David, I don't know how soon it's going to happen, and I don't know what the future holds, but as long as Hamas is involved in it, and as long as the Palestinian Authority doesn't recognize Israel as a Jewish state, it ain't ever going to get better. But that's what I believe is a realistic opinion. David, always great to talk to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. David
Tafuri, ladies and gentlemen, a former rule of law coordinator for Iraq at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad and a partner at Patton Boggs law firm. I just wish the Congress would hold the administration's feet to the fire. Some have tried, but this, how do you feel that your taxpayer money is going to fund a unity government, including Hamas? How is that even legal? How is that even possible? How did the world get to that point? How did this country get to that point under Barack Obama? It's happened. He was going to change America, and he did it. We're coming back. More of the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't go away.